So, the streets are saying that there is allegedly a naughty tape of Beyonce and Jay-Z being shopped around Hollywood, and it is as graphic as you can imagine. Beyonce and Jay-Z have both been trending hard on social media since Jay-Z's bestie, Diddy, got exposed for allegedly being a creep. Fans have been speculating that the real reason the Carters were so desperate to distance themselves from Diddy was that he allegedly had dirt on them. If you're wondering what he could have possibly have on them, a celebrity lawyer who claims to be representing some victims against Diddy recently made a bold claim about how she has some damaging footage of Beyonce in a compromising situation that looks to be a freak-off. And like that's not wild enough, some unconfirmed rumors are claiming that the tape is allegedly being auctioned and that Jay-Z is allegedly offering to pay $500 million for the footage to save him and Beyonce the humiliation. But how exactly did the tape get leaked? And did Diddy really record Beyonce without her knowledge? Let's break this down. Okay, so while we haven't seen any actual footage of the freak-offs, we have seen some pictures, and girl, when I tell you that them pictures are wild AF, I'm not even joking. One of Diddy's alleged victims leaked some pictures that they secretly took at the parties, and it had everyone shook. As shocking as the pictures were, people who have seen the alleged Beyonce video are saying that it's way worse than anything we have ever seen. And this kind of makes us wonder what exactly was going on at them freak-offs. Even though the rumors of Beyonce being at the freak-offs have been around from the moment we learned about the freak-offs, it wasn't until a couple of days ago that we learned that she was allegedly caught on tape at those parties doing some very, let's say, interesting activities. This was first reported by a lawyer named Ariel Mitchell Kidd, who had an interview where she talked about how she's going to be filing an SA lawsuit against Diddy on behalf of one of her clients. For obvious reasons, Ariel couldn't name the client, but when she told her story, it sounded very similar to all the stories of the women who have accused Diddy of SA. His usual MO seems to be to spike the women's drinks before doing bad things to them. And according to Ariel, this is how it played out for her client. According to her, the woman in question claims to have met Diddy in 2018 while she was hanging out at a friend's place who had a connection to Diddy and other powerful people in the industry. She claimed that while she was there, Diddy allegedly spiked her drink, SA'd her with an inanimate object, and then forced another man who was there to SA her while he watched and pleasured himself. The woman also claimed that Diddy's assistant, Christina Coram, was right there and watched it happen without trying to stop it or help.
So she called me and told me a very horrific story about her and her escape from the. She told me that she was at a friend's house who had industry ties and was on the phone with Diddy, and he decided to come to the house. And when he came to the house, everything was fine, that there was another woman there who we've determined to be Christina Coram, KK, who Diddy talks about a lot as his like right-hand woman, if you will, and that they were discussing her, and then that led to her being served a drink where then she started to feel woozy, and then Mr. Combs assaulted her with an inanimate object, and then actually directed another gentleman to her while he watched and pleasured himself.
She went on to claim that the alleged victim managed to break out of the induced haze that she was in and managed to run out of the house screaming for help. Luckily for her, one of the neighbors heard her and called 911.
So she was able to escape eventually and ran out into the streets yelling and screaming, and a neighbor heard her because this happened in a quiet suburban neighborhood, if you will.
So there's a witness?
Yes, we have a witness. We also have a police report, and that was made in 2018, that she, when she initially filed the police report, she didn't name Diddy out of fear of retaliation, and more importantly, fear that no one would believe her.
Right.
So she then updated that report, and we've been working with law enforcement to have them actually look into that report. They didn't do too much then, but now they are looking more closely at it.
All right, so let's slow that down just a minute. So when we talk about what happened in that house and she's running out to the street, I can see it as you're describing it so well. Did she call the police right away? You said that obviously that there is a police report, but is she calling 911? Is she going to the neighbor's house? Can you give us any more detail about what happened?
Sure. What she did was, as she's running out the house yelling, a neighbor saw her and invited her into the home.
Okay.
And it's the neighbor who then called the police, and the police did come out at that time. They also stated that they heard cars screeching, and the neighbor went outside and saw a black SUV leaving the premises very quickly. And by the time the police arrived, of course, he was no longer there.
Well, was the neighbor able to identify who it was?
The neighbor wasn't, only that they saw the car leaving, and
Okay.
they'd only described the truck. They could not tell who was inside, but she told the neighbor at the time who it was and why they were leaving so abruptly.
She must have been terrified.
But surprise, surprise, even though the police were called, they didn't do anything or even question Diddy. This is in no way shocking because there have been reports for a long time about how Diddy allegedly has the police in his pockets and has been paying for a long time to make his alleged crimes go away and get swept under the rug. Also, Cassie and Lil Rod exposed him in their lawsuits of allegedly using intimidation tactics to scare and manipulate his victims into keeping their mouths shut, sometimes going as far as to threaten to unalive them.
And due to the high profile nature that it was Mr. Combs who did this, she was afraid for her life. She was concerned that if she was to come forward and say something, that no one would believe her, because we're talking about 2018 when Mr. Combs was still pretty much at the height of his career, still very much so an icon and influential figure. So she's just a young girl from Northern California who's gonna believe that he had done something to her like this. So she didn't tell anybody. She did not hire an attorney. All she did was make the police report in the hopes that maybe the police would try to investigate and come up with anything. But she said she kind of felt from the police that they were disregarding what she was saying, even without saying Mr. Combs' name.
Do you know if he was interviewed? I mean, he was named in the police report?
I don't think so. Based on what she said, she really felt that the police were trying to bury this and disregard her claims and not really investigate, which is another reason why a lot of victims don't report these things to the police. We have to address the elephant in the room is that we have victims, especially women, who go to the police who are typically men who don't actually investigate these things. They victim blame, they victim shame, and women don't feel safe or even protected to even make these claims because they don't think they'll be taken seriously, nor will their claims be investigated.
Right. Well, your client should be proud of herself for filing that claim and making that call and going for help.
Didn't stop there. She went on to claim that she was recently contacted by another client who wanted her to help broker the sale of a tape featuring one of the most prominent celebs in the industry. Ariel claimed that the celebrity was clearly not aware that they were being filmed.
I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because—
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
Yes.
the shopping thing is
Yes,
new.
there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow, can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No,
this
I can't
tape.
explain who the person was, but
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it? Or
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video, and I can tell the video was graphic in nature.
Oh my, all right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, did he? And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded it.
For us to put two and two together and realize that the celebrity in question could be Beyonce. I mean, she is one of the very few celebrities bigger than Diddy in Hollywood. Plus, we all know how close she and her husband Jay-Z are to Diddy. At this point, fans started digging out old receipts from other celebs who claimed to have seen her at Diddy's parties. For example, in this interview that DaBaby gave, it kind of seemed like Beyonce could have been trying to put the moves on him.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put him out. but he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man, and was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know,
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in
Right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was.
But that's not all. Fans also brought up the time when Diddy made some of his artists walk more than 4 hours to get him a cheesecake. At the time, we thought that it was just Diddy being weird and trying to flex his power on his artists for no reason. However, Freddie P recently revealed in an interview that the cheesecake was for Beyonce, not Diddy, and that Beyonce allegedly made Diddy force the boys to get her the cheesecake.
Okay, fun fact a lot of people don't know. That cheesecake we went and got was for Beyonce. She was upstairs the whole time. What we was talking about again? Hold on. Yeah, that's a fun fact people don't know. People like, y'all walked and got a cheesecake. It was for Beyonce. I'll do it again. But yeah, because at first he was like, I want some cheesecake. But we took all night to do the process, right? So when we got back, it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. And me and Dalon got back first. Let me tell you how green these niggas is. So I'm the type of nigga, I listen to everything you say as if it's a contract. So if you say, walk to the store, or walk to get me some cheesecake, I'll walk to get you some cheesecake, but I'm not walking back. And that's just what me and Dalon did. And they like, why y'all, you know, they hot. Like, y'all cheating. And we like, he told us to walk. He ain't tell us to walk back. So we already in the hotel like 3 hours before they got there. When they said they was coming, we went and met him in front of the building. And you know the first thing that nigga said out of his mouth? He said, we got the cheesecake. He was like, I don't want that shit. Take that shit upstairs for Beyonce. Then he said, they was like, yeah, man, we wanted to tell you, Fred and Dalon, they ain't walk back. You know, trying to be on some snitching shit. He was like, I ain't tell you niggas to walk back.
But that's not all. Earlier this year, Jaguar Wright revealed that a tape of Beyonce in a compromising situation was floating around. She revealed that Beyonce had been secretly recorded because she had no idea that a camera was even in the room in the first place.
Because the Diddy. Oh! Diddy done turned over tapes. Allegedly, with the Carters, is some freak off. And the Beyonce. How on the and the tapes had all over it. Hold on.
Child, y'all might call Jaguar crazy, but it's kind of wild how often she is right. To be fair though, we don't have any hard evidence that it's really Beyonce on them tapes, even though fans are 100% convinced that it is. There are even some unconfirmed rumors that Jay-Z is allegedly trying to buy that tape before it leaks, which would suggest that he believes that Beyonce is allegedly the one on it. Fans are throwing out figures as high as 500 million, which would suggest that Jay-Z is pretty desperate, and boy, we gotta wonder how bad that tape is. Fans commented, all the celebrities are involved. I can't believe people don't think otherwise. You can't be in Diddy's circle for 30 years and not know or not be a part of it, because we know Diddy's rules were if you hang out, you participate, or you are not hanging out. Anyone who participated in or supported P. Diddy's freak-off events or similar behavior should be exposed and held accountable. They must face consequences in a court of law, ensuring that such actions are not tolerated. Justice is essential for those harmed and for upholding ethical standards. And just shut all of Hollywood down, including the sign. This is a mess, but do y'all believe that it really is Beyonce on the tapes? And do you think that Jay-Z knew that she was being recorded? Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.